All right, music fans, welcome back. Harmless Dave here, talking about real music in real time for a few real people out there just like you and just like me. Gonna be talking about how Neal Schon got snubbed, all right, and how Rick Beato is upset about it. And I've got some advice for Rick Beato, and I'm gonna explain a few things about how all of this works, in case you didn't know. Before I get there, here is the Chris O'Leary Band live at Blues Now. Saw Chris a couple of weeks ago. Incredible, soulful singer with a heart for great music and for war veterans who've served our country. That was one thing I also noticed about Chris O'Leary. He is a veteran, in fact, and just a great singer with a great band, top notch. This is the kind of stuff, folks, that should be on radio stations all across America. It just should be in rotation. And if you don't like this particular album, I dug the live set so much that I decided to go out and purchase a live album, and it is as good as he was in person. So anyway, Chris O'Leary Band, just fantastic music. Also, folks, if you want to hear some fantastic music, don't forget about Modern Retro Radio, modernretrofm.com. It's weird when you try to say modern and retro radio together. It's like saying the Little River Band. You know, it's the same kind of thing where it all just mashes together. Also, folks, I have to do this. I know people hate when I do this, but my channel right now is earning less revenue than it did in 2017 at this point. And I've got more patrons. I'm talking about from the landlord here for whatever reason. And every day I watch and the view count, I have hundreds of videos out there on YouTube and the clicks just keep going down. So there's a suppression going on. A lot of the videos I put out there aren't as time sensitive. So if I do a general video on whatever band and it's a true story about the history of that band and so forth, typically that video will continue to get views over time. But what's happening is somebody is just like turning the valve off to all of it. So again, you would think the more videos I put out there, the more reach I would have and the more views I would get. But just the opposite is occurring. It seems the harder I work, the percentage of views I'm getting off of each video is decreasing. So if it gets to the point, folks, where it's just not lucrative to be on here, I have to see how low it goes. But I want to say this to all the patrons. Thank you. Thank you for being here. Thank you for staying here. And I need you. I need you. If I'm going to keep doing this, and I do mean, you know, every single day putting out content for the most part. I take the occasional day off, but very rarely. I may just do one video. Some days I'll do 3 videos, depending on what's going on in the world. So I need your help. So if you can do $1 a month, $2 a month, $3 a month, I've got patrons, and I've mentioned them before. My buddy Dave, who will send me money just because he knows what's going on, and I appreciate him. And Darby, and there are others that are just constantly going way above what I'm asking. I'm asking like 1% or no, maybe 10%, we'll say, of my subscribers, 10% to come on board and do like $1 a month, you know? And so that's it. Sorry, I have to keep doing this. I just don't know what else to do. I got used to things going up and now the things are going down. Some will say there are conspiracies behind it. Maybe. Some will say that because the economy is so bad, maybe. I'm thinking the landlord is just, you know, doing stuff. That's all I can tell you. And I don't have, you know, I've watched some videos on this topic on how the suppression happens and how now more income is being moved to the owner rather than the person working for the owner. So it's bizarre. And yes, just for the record, I have videos going over to Rumble as well. I have not seen a dime of income from Rumble. It says I have like a few dollars in the till, like literally a few dollars. And videos have been going over there, I think, for over a year. And so that's weird too. And I've sent them messages, okay, like what's going on, guys? You know, I mean, I should have maybe $10, $20, $50 by now. Nothing. So I don't know. I don't really fit the mold of anything. That's the problem. And I do some politics, and I critique a lot of things. I know I should have gone the happy-go-lucky route and tried to maintain that and put on the happy face and said everything is great, even though, you know, what's that expression? Don't do something on my back and tell me it's raining. All right. So that's how I'm feeling right now. Anyway, super long intro. I'm thinking that this might be a 2-part video now that I've gone this long, but we'll get to the topic now. So Rick Beato is out there and he's really upset. He's got a big platform. He's really smart. He knows the music end of things very well. He's a musician. So he is way above my pay grade when it comes to describing like a guitar tone or why this person is a great guitar player, why this person is a great keyboard player, whatever. He's really good at that stuff. And he does some fairly high profile interviews, and he's got, I think, over 1 million subscribers. I don't follow him per se, but every so often one of his videos will show up in my feed and I'll see the title, or I may even watch it for a short period of time. So he's really upset that Neal Schon isn't in Rolling Stone's list of great guitar players. Now, I think it's ridiculous, and I've said this before, that they expanded this list to 250. It's like packing the Supreme Court, all right? How about we hone that down a little bit? I would say 100. Why do we need to go to 250? Why? All right, so let me give Rick Beato some advice, right? Rather than trying to fumble around about why this is happening and this is outrageous and, you know, these people should be in, like the Captain Obvious statements. Of course, Neal Schon should be in. I'll talk about Neal, and 2 of my favorite all-time guitar solos are by Neal Schon, right? And by the way, folks, you don't have to like Neal Schon as a person. I know there are a lot of people out there, you know, that love Steve Perry, that don't love Neal Schon, or think Neal Schon's to blame for certain things that are going on in Journey. You can have those opinions, okay? But you have to kind of like get to the reality part, which is that Neal Schon is a superb, just an amazing guitarist. Sammy Hagar said a couple of years ago that Neal Schon just plays things so well, and he plays them differently almost every time he plays them. I mean, the guy, if you watch him when he does his Twitter noodling videos, I call them, he just makes brilliance up. He just makes it up, and his brain just goes to his hands, and it's breathtaking. It's just embrace how good Neal is. Again, you don't have to like him as a person, all right? But I tend to think that sometimes, you know, like Eddie Van Halen, he wasn't loved by certain people in the rock world, and we see that today. There is still no tribute to Ed, but Ed was brilliant, all right? And I think the same thing might be true of Neal in a different way. Not everybody likes Neal Schon in the business, but Neal Schon is brilliant. You can't, it's like the kid, right, who doesn't have to study and gets A's, you know, back in whatever school. And I'm like, I studied all night. I got a C+, you know. That's just, and Neal Schon, yeah, I don't have to do anything. I just sit down, start playing, and That's what I do. So let me get over to the Rick Beato portion of this. So Rick, here's the scoop, brother. All right, and everybody else. It's political. All right, it's political. It's not that Rolling Stone is stupid. All right, what you need to say is Rolling Stone has gone woke. All right, and they're part of this, and they've been a part of this. They were on the forefront of this years ago, even before people realized. Okay, they're into kind of all the artsy sort of underground rock and, lifting up the Velvet Underground and all of these bands, MC5, like, and I tell people, I'm like, do you know who MC5? No, I've never heard of them. Never, from the 60s, right? Or something. Yeah, Rolling Stone thinks they're great. The Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. By the way, they're kind of joined at the hip, the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame and Rolling Stone. So what Rick, with this huge platform, should be saying is that it's all politics, and it's not music politics, it's politics. It's above just music politics. The people over at Rolling Stone and at the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, they're into quotas. All right, this was an expression that was used years ago to describe that we need this many of this group of people in, this many of this color of people in. All right. And look, I don't care what color or gender you are. If you're really good at something, that doesn't, I don't see, this used to be the 1970s when I grew up. I didn't care. It was later on when all of these jerks started pointing out, hey, we don't have enough of this group over here. Are you excluding this person because of their ethnicity or their color or their gender or whatever? And all that bean counting just ruins it, because now you're not doing this by merit. This has nothing to do with merit. This is just, we need this many in our institution and on our list. So Neal Schon does not represent any of those things. In fact, he was born, I think, on an army base, right? Neal Schon, if you look at his whole life, and played hooky in school, isn't, out there. One thing about Neal Schon is you may think he kind of goes left of center politically, but he's not out there like preaching any agenda or agreeing with any. He doesn't weigh in like, say, Paul Stanley will weigh in on a topic. Neal Schon doesn't do that. Neal Schon is more about the music and controlling his band. I think those two things. So Rick Beato, he's outraged. Rick, buddy. So here's my theory as to why Rick doesn't just go in. And first of all, he doesn't want to lose the interviews he gets. He doesn't want to lose his camaraderie with the old school rockers, many of whom don't speak up either, right? And they've made that calculation that even if they agree with something that, say, Eric Clapton says, they agree with that, they're not going to say it out loud. And so they all play it safe. Now, Rick has a lot of subscribers, which means he's also got a lot of advertising, the kind of advertising that I want on my channel that I can't get. The kind of view counts that are just incredible for sitting down and telling everybody about one-hit wonders or something, where I could do that, and it's boring to me, but I could do that. And if I did do that, I would get 1/50th of the views that they would get. And that video would stay out forever, and theirs would go over 1 million, and mine would go to like 10,000, So Rick has an opportunity to just tell the truth. I mean, he's in a financial position where he probably could tell the truth and just say, look, these institutions are captured by political entities and not just music politics, like actual politics. Like, a message has to go out to all the institutions, everything, music, art, whatever it is, sports has been taken over. I mean, I don't follow all this stuff because it's so depressing. You turn on ESPN and they're talking about equity and inclusion or something. And you're like, isn't this supposed to be sports? I just wanted to tune in to watch some sports. What's going on? And so this whole thing with Neal Schon being excluded, it's outrageous. It's outrageous. So what we need, and Neal Schon suggested this, and it's a great idea. We need all of the guitar players to get together and put together their own guitar Hall of Fame or something. The Guitar Players Hall of Fame, a parallel economy that discredits Rolling Stone. It discredits the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Why should Rolling Stone be the arbiter of what's good and what's not? They've been wrong about pretty much every band in this country, in the United States. All these bands that they won't give the time of day. Why isn't Kansas in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame? The band Kansas. Why aren't they in there? So ridiculous. Very artistic and creative and innovative. Nobody was doing what they were doing in the 70s. And then, they broke through. They had some mainstream success. And off and on, they've kept it going over the years. Although recently, I could go into another video about what I think about all that stuff with Kansas. But really, that original lineup, one of the great vocalists ever, Steve Walsh, and they're not in the Hall of Fame. And what did Rolling Stone do with that band? Every time they would come out with an album, it was pretty much, oh, here they come again, Kansas. I guess there's some people out in the Midwest that like them. These white suburban kids like them. It's not our thing, so we're not going to talk about it. We're not going to write them up and give them a positive review. Oh, no, there are some Christian themes in the music. We're going to steer completely clear of that. See how all this works? So all I can say to Rick Beato is you've got a big platform. And it would be nice, Rick, if maybe you just said, look, we all know what's going on here. We know what's going on. A lot of people are afraid to say what's going on, but I'm going to tell you exactly how this works right now. Not, gee, they're just stupid for not putting Neal Schon in there. That's true, but they know that Neal Schon is better than, 80% of the people who they ranked, at least. There are some exceptions, and here's where I would put Neal Schon. All right, write this down. Neal Schon is in the top 25 somewhere. That's where he is. He may not be in the top 10, he may be, but he's in the top 25 comfortably. And anybody who thinks he's not good enough to be in that area, you have to look at how innovative he's been. The early years of Journey, the style of music that is, that's the stuff the critics tend to like the most. But it's not necessarily the best. Like I said, the guitar solo on Who's Crying Now, one of the great moments in rock history. The guitar solo on I'll Be All Right Without You, one of the great solos. If you listen to that solo, it will send chills up and down and the little hairs, and all that stuff. So I think it would be a good idea for guys like Rick Beato who do this and get lots of views and are opinionated and know what they're talking about. Just, you don't have to be political all the time. All you have to do is say, this makes no sense. It's it's a message that they're putting out. Joni Mitchell at number 9 and Neal Schon not on the list. What does that say? It says they are putting people in who they think should be in. And it has everything to do with the political culture that we're all living through right now. All right, folks, I'm running out of gas here. Please subscribe to the channel. And also, if you can support the channel, it would be much appreciated. Things, like I say, are just going in the wrong direction. And also, don't forget Modern Retro Radio, modernretrofm.com. And maybe, send Neal Schon a tweet saying, yeah, you guys need to get together and do that Guitar Players Hall of Fame thing. And so the guitarists, the great guitar players of all time, can then put themselves in, and then they can rank the other ones in the correct order. That's how you fix the problem. All right. I'm done. See you soon.